the days of technology, so many fun games to choose from. I bet most of you out there have played an electronic game of some sort in your lifetime. What's your favorite? Is it Mario? Is it Solitaire? Do you have the high score? Are your initials next to that high score? And then you get to playing and you know how it happens, the loss of time. Oh, just one more turn, I know I can complete this level. And you get to that level, well, you've got to see what happens. And after a while, you might start to think, you know, I probably should stop and do my homework or even make dinner. Oh, just one more turn. Hopefully, after a couple hours, you've listened to a little voice of reason that tells you you should either stop the game or maybe even you finish the game. But now imagine yourself playing a game in which you've invented the character. A character in which other people are relying on to complete a same mission. Will it really be that simple to just stop the game when other people are relying on your character? For different reasons, some people are unable to listen to this point of reason and cannot stop their behavior. When someone cannot stop their behavior, an addiction is occurring. Video games can lead to addiction. Today, I have 3 main points that support my opinion. 1, video game addiction can be defined. 2, video games can physically alter the brain. And 3, video game type affects addiction degree. To begin, studies provide evidence that video games lead to a specific addiction behavior. This leads me to my first main point. Video game addiction can be defined. Surprisingly, in 2007, an article from the American Journal of Drug and Alcohol Abuse, the American Medical Association voted against considering video games as an addiction in this current Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, or the DSM-4. However, it did recommend for further research in the revision of the DSM in 2012. A diagnostic tool has been developed to describe addictive tendencies related to gaming. In 2009, according to an article in Cyber Psychology and Behavior, scholars do agree that an addiction is an uncontrollable urge and as seen with the loss of control in relationship to a certain activity. This video game diagnostic tool has 6 measures. According to Brown, there's tolerance, in which there's a gradual increase in the amount of time someone spends to achieve a desired effect. Mood modification, a coping mechanism. Are they escaping reality? Salience, domination of someone's thoughts and feelings to the point they can't stop the behavior. Conflict, is there a reason for internal or external conflict? Withdrawal symptoms, a mood swing with somebody suddenly stops the game. Relapse and reinstatement, the inability to completely stop playing video games. Clear behavior characteristics have been identified, thus proving that a specific behavior is related to this specific addiction. Video game addiction can be defined. Like other studied mental disorders, video games alter the mind. This discovery has led me to my second main point. Video games physically alter the brain. Video games physically alter the brain. In a 2010 study from the American Journal of Drug and Alcohol Abuse, they conducted a study using MRI brain scans to see the effect of video games has on the brain. This study concluded that the reward and sensitization is consistent with growing evidence that computer playing addictions are similar to other behavioral addictions like compulsive gambling, overeating, sex, and shopping. In 2008, a McLean article called What Happened to Brandon gives detail of a 15-year-old boy who started playing Call of Duty online. Brandon was a good athlete and a good student whose life quickly would narrow after he quit his sport. He lost his friends because all he wanted to do was play the game. Brandon's parents were like any other parents and wanted to take back control. They started punishments and eventually ended up taking his Xbox away. Brandon ran away from home and was never found again. The experts have now told Brandon's parents that stopping cold turkey like that was like stripping their sons of his identity. Also, according to this article, prior to the 1999 Columbine shootings, the parents of the shooters also noted that they took away their son's beloved game, Doom. To review, we have looked at how the brain has physical alterations similar to other addictions. Video games physically alter the brain. With the evolution of greater technology comes an increase in the potential for addiction. This leads me to my third main point. Video game type affects addiction degree. Video game type affects addiction degree. In 2004, according to an article from Communications of ACM, John Messerly, a professor from the University of Texas, stated how video games ruin scholastic and social lives of adolescents and young adults. He did a simple study from computer science majors in which they all stated that 90% of them stated that they knew someone whose lives had been harmed scholastically or socially from playing video games. Some students were even known to play video games for days without stopping. Any video game has a potential for addiction. However, this professor noted that role-playing games such as EverQuest are considerably more addicting. In these games, the player creates a character living in a cyberspace community. Sometimes these people are able to live out fantasies and misrepresent their own shortfalls. The graphics and scenarios create the ability to escape momentarily from the troubles of this world. Addiction players are not aware that this additional time of playing video games takes away from their relationships. Also, in 2008, an article from McLean, Liz Woolley, the founder of Olganon, Online Gamers Anonymous, tells the story of her son. Her son, Sean, loved to play video games, and when he turned 21, she stated, he loved to play the game, was an avid video game player, and at the age of 21, he started the game EverQuest. She states, within 3 months, he quit his job, got evicted from his apartment, and became depressed and antisocial. He actually replaced his friends and families with the game. Woolley, who was a software consultant, sought help through healthcare professionals. They actually told her she should be glad that her child was not addicted to drugs and alcohol. After her son committed suicide, she founded Olganon, which today is a volunteer organization that has 500 internet and phone inquiries daily. She also notes that the developers of these types of games employ psychologists and brain researchers to incorporate these addictive properties. The problem with online virtual games is that there is no end to the game. In sum, we have looked closer at which types of games are more likely to cause addiction. Video game type affects addiction degree. Like most everything, we should play everything in moderation. However, the evidence I have shared with you today has brought forth the complexity of what happens when video game playing turns into an addiction. Just because there is not a black and white test to decipher between excessive game playing and a true addiction does not mean that society should belittle what seems to be an innocent addiction. Personally, I know of a family whose young adult had left home due to playing video games. He was unable to keep a job and was homeless because he could not get to the job due to sleep deprivation or simply playing the video game. To the bystander outside of a home looking in, video games and computer games cannot be physically seen in abuse and neglect. 97% of America has a screen of some sort. Not any one of us wants to consider that we might be possible to fall to the pitfalls of our fingertips and the scenes to our eyes with the mentality of just one more time. Today, I hope you leave here with greater awareness of this addiction and to take it seriously, and so that because it too can rob people of their lives. Video games can lead to addiction, has been proven by my 3 main points. Video game addiction can be defined, video games can physically alter the brain, and 3, video game type affects addiction degree. Thank you.